This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social here in Dubai for the press conference between Floyd Mayweather and Deji. Roy Jones Jr., first things first, an absolute pleasure. I think the last time was in Cardiff. How are you? Enjoying Dubai?
Doing good, enjoying it, loving myself.
Let's talk a little bit about, obviously, your fighter that you've got fighting Delphine Persoon. We know just how good Delphine Persoon is. We saw her in the two fights with Katie Taylor, which a lot of people sort of thought that Katie Taylor was, they thought they were close fights. What did you make of it? And obviously, you know that you've got a tough game opponent come Sunday.
Of course, one of the toughest games opponents you can get. She's one of the people that gave Katie, to me, the hardest time in boxing. I don't think nobody else ever gave Katie that hard of a time. So, being that Katie is probably the pound for pound the best female boxer fight right now, that's a high build to attack, you know what I'm saying? So you know that coming into that fight, you better be ready mentally and physically. So if you're not ready mentally and physically, she'll run you out of there.
Well, I'll rattle through the questions because I know that you don't want to be doing interviews for too long. But look, Floyd Mayweather, he fights the YouTube sensation you could call in Deji. Floyd just doing what he does and securing the bag?
That's all. He's just going to secure the bag again. That's what he does. He's a smart guy.
How long do you think Floyd will be sort of doing this? Because do you not think there's an age limit on where your body starts to slow down a little bit?
When you're fighting guys like he's fighting, these YouTube guys, he can do this till he's 60, 75. They can't beat him. He's that good.
Let's move over to the UK. We saw reports this week that you will be training Chris Eubank Jr. again. I just sort of want to ask you, for the first place, why weren't you going to be the trainer for the Conor Benn fight? Was it to do with the weight, and was it not right for you, or were there other reasons involved?
It was a family feud. Eubank versus Ben. To me, Eubank's dad and Ben's dad are the reason that fight even was talked about. Eubank was a 160-pounder. Ben was really a 140-pounder who moved up to 147. So they were so far apart in weight that fight never even normally would have been thought of. But because of their fathers, the fight came about. So I respected that and stepped back because he told me that he wanted his dad to work the corner because of the situation, which I totally agree with. So that was not a problem. They said, after that, you'll be right back on, and I want you to be my trainer from that point forward. But this was a family situation, so I backed away.
What do you make of the saga that's come out with Conor Benn? Obviously, it's now 2 adverse findings in his VADA test. At first, we thought it was just the 1. They're now like a month and a half between. What do you make of it? And I know that the team at Wasserman and Matchroom want to remake that fight, but obviously legal protocol has to go on, but it doesn't look great.
No, it doesn't look great, but I feel bad for both of them, for both of the families that the fight didn't happen. And it is what it is. We move forward and see what happens next.
Just 2 more from me. Obviously, with Eubank Jr., the names that have been thrown about is someone like Liam Smith, which would be a fantastic fight. Can you see sort of like a name like that materialising in the meantime? Have you spoke to Junior? What are his plans? I spoke to him. I spoke to his promoter, Calla. They seem like they just want to get out now. Make the most of it. He is 34, so I suppose he's got to move in time with proceedings.
He told me last week that he probably will be fighting Liam Smith in December. And they want me to come over and get back to work with him. So as soon as I get through with all this, I get back to him, and we hopefully will see Liam Smith in December.
Finally, I'll just ask you on the heavyweights over in the UK. We've got Tyson Fury. Obviously, we've got the Fury family here. He fights Derek Chisora in a trilogy. He's had a little bit of criticism about it. People saying that Derek Chisora not really the opponent that boxing fans wanted. Your thoughts on the fight?
It's always a great fight. Derek Chisora going to come at him every time, every round, as long as he's alive. And to be honest with you, to see a beautiful boxer fight a huge puncher is always a great fight. Their first 2 fights were good, and this next fight going to be good. So I look forward to it.
Finally, on Anthony Joshua, we saw him in Abu Dhabi last week. He was obviously wanting that Tyson Fury fight, didn't end up materialising. For someone like him, he's taken 2 defeats to an amazing fighter in Alexander Usyk. There's no shame in that. But do you think for someone like him, it would be a good idea to go and get his... I spoke to Steve Bunce, and he said back in the 80s and the 90s, the idea would be go and have 3 maybe easier touches, get the confidence back. Do you think that Anthony Joshua can afford to do that, or should he just go straight back into the deep end with the big fights?
Actually, to be honest with you, we spoke, and I do have a plan for him mentally. I haven't told him yet, but if he likes the way that we get along in the gym, then I'm going to tell you, for me, any fight he fights is going to be a big fight anyway. But you got to go with guys who are not quite Alexander Usyk or Tyson Fury yet. We need 2 good fights to get yourself back into the motion, and those will be good fights. They won't be just no scrub fights. They'll be good fights. Then we go after either Usyk or Fury, whoever wins. But we do need 2 good fights to get it back, and I already got 2 fights in my mind that I want, but I got to talk to him and make sure he's in the credence.
You think that there's any chance that we could see that? I know that you said you're waiting for him to get back to you, but that would be a really good link up. Obviously, Roy Jones.
I think we're going to see it. And if it happens, then everything will go just as planned. But like I told you, we'll do 2 fights before. And I think the two fights I have in mind are really good fights. They're very tough fights, but they're good. And this will let me know if he really wants it or if he don't. Because if he does want it, he'll see why I want him to fight these 2 fights, and he'll go get it. And he'll be the man again.
Roy Jones Jr., an absolute pleasure talking to the legend that is yourself. Thank you for making the time, and enjoy Dubai this week.